Former Secretary of State and Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton continues to make the wrong kinds of headlines after falsely claiming that former Secretary of State General Colin Powell had told her it was okay to use a private email server or that he saw nothing wrong with it. It turns out that General Colin Powell has not only denied that, he has specifically told People magazine that he had a conversation with Hillary Clinton about the subject 1 year after she'd already been using a private email server. Colin Powell's remarks prove that Hillary Clinton's explanation, or trying to use him as an excuse to explain her inexcusable behavior, is actually a lie. What else is new? It's the Clintons. The Clintons have an infamous track record for not telling the truth. Perhaps the most infamous lie that the Clintons have ever told, essentially under oath at one point, is that when Bill Clinton said he did not have sex with Monica Lewinsky. We all know, of course, that that was a lie. The Israeli town of Sderot has been hit by another rocket. This rocket thankfully didn't harm anybody or kill anybody. It in fact landed between two residential homes. The rocket itself was fired from Gaza territory controlled by, you guessed it, the terrorist group Hamas. In retaliation, the Israeli Defense Forces have struck 30 different Hamas targets. They have eliminated them. Hamas, of course, is saying that Israel will pay a price for this. They always say that, but it never ends up being true because they're Hamas. But the fact remains that Hamas refuses to control its militants. Rocket launchings have happened many times this year, despite a so-called hudna or truce between Israel and the terrorist group. Hamas continues to dig terror tunnels, claiming that they are strategically necessary should another war break out. What Hamas does not tell everyone, of course, is that if a war breaks out, it will be because, once again, they have started it. Clinton's campaign manager, who goes by the nickname of Mook, has stooped to new lows, even by Clinton's low standards, historically speaking. In an interview on ABC television, Clinton's campaign manager said that there's talk that Donald Trump is a puppet of the Kremlin in this election. Can you believe that, folks? He actually said that. And of course, it's just like Hillary Clinton to let other people do her dirty work for her. What Mook went on to say is that there are connections between Trump and the Chinese and the Russians, but what he didn't say, of course, was that months ago, the New York Times ran on the front cover of its newspaper a story proving that after donating about $2.5 million to, surprise, the Clinton Foundation, the Russians were able to take over 100% interests in uranium mining companies in Kazakhstan. And that is not a coincidence. In fact, one of the banks involved in the transaction, not coincidentally, who was pushing the stock of this uranium company, went ahead and paid, surprise, Bill Clinton $500,000, $500,000 to give a single speech. Now, for anyone to credibly say that this is just a coincidence and that nobody was doing any quid pro quo or pay to play, well, if you believe that nonsense, please don't vote. Again, everywhere you look at, when you critically examine how the Clintons behave and misbehave, you find a pattern of lies, a pattern of deception, a pattern of big money, special vested interests, donating millions to them. The Clinton Foundation is officially listed as a nonprofit charity, quote unquote, that brings in over $1 billion. Now, That's a lot of money, and that can buy a lot of influence. And you can actually do a simple statistical mapping exercise that proves that when money started to move into the Clintons' account, interest from the donors started to be granted and met. Their agendas were carried out. And this happened both before and especially during and after Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State. She promised the Obama administration that she would disclose all donors. They actually had a formal written agreement to that effect. Did Hillary keep her word? No, she's Hillary Clinton. Instead, she never disclosed the donation by the Russians to the tune of over $2 million and the speech that Bill Clinton was paid $500,000 to give. Coincidentally, of course. The government of Iraq has executed some 36 people that it claims participated in a massacre of over 1,700 of its soldiers when the terrorist group, the Islamic State, took over the city of Tikrit. Tikrit is the hometown of former brutal Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein.